Hey guys, Troy Casey, Certified Health Nut here at CHNHQ. This is the last week to get my free stress management course, a $300 value, absolutely free, when you order the hardcover of Ripped at 50, A Journey to Self-Love. I packed everything in the book, and I packed everything in 6 hours of content in the stress management course. It's my gift to you, absolutely free in this pre-launch period right now. This is the last week to get it. Click on the link below. Yeah, so we're going down to Magnus Walker's place today, man. He's like an American icon, although I think he's from the UK. But he's been here like 30 years. I watched a TED Talk of him talk about your gut instincts, and I specialize in that. I encourage people to tap into their intuition. So I clicked on the TED Talk and I was like, what's this guy talking about? And he just seemed like a really down-to-earth guy, and he was in the fashion industry, and he had a warehouse downtown Los Angeles, and I think something told him, his gut, to get on a plane to Los Angeles, and he came out here and he has success in the fashion industry. I think he used to make like jeans and Americana type clothing, and we'll find out a little bit more in a few minutes. But and then something told him in his gut to start buying property, and this is downtown Los Angeles. See these old buildings? These are all like industrial buildings, and 25 years ago, this place, nobody came down to downtown Los Angeles. It wasn't really a functioning downtown. It wasn't until the artists kind of started moving down here, and then the population grew, and so all real estate got a little bit more pricey, and so he bought a bunch of buildings down here and then turned them into locations for film shooting. There's actually a film being shot down here today. There's a lot of activity down here, actually. And then he he liked Porsches, and he started buying Porsches, and somehow now he is the Porsche master. And we're gonna go in and see all his Porsches. And the bottom line is Certified Health Nut is about human exploration, health and consciousness. And I just like interesting people. And Magnus is an interesting person. And Magnus isn't an interesting people.
Where's the Health Nut?
Yeah.
Where's the certified? Certified in the house.
Yeah.
First of all, high five. What's your name?
Troy.
Troy, nice to meet you. And this guy? And this big Troy? Certified Health Nut, right? All right.
Good to see
Top
you,
of the morning, man. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having us.
You got the urban beach down here.
Yeah.
You like cars?
Yeah.
What do you like?
Particularly McLaren's.
Oh, McLaren's. What, 570, 600, Santa? 720?
Yeah.
Oh, I've driven that car. It's pretty fast, that car.
Sat in one.
You just what?
What?
You got one?
No, we sat in
You
one.
sat in one. You better to drive one, maybe. Huh? What about the Senna? You like that?
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
Seen that? That's 720. That's your car. What about that new GT?
GT.
McLaren GT. It's a little bit long. It's like a small long tail.
Yeah.
I have some bad news for you though. There's no McLarens here. I got some P-cars up.
Yeah.
If you like P-cars.
Yeah.
How's your day going so far? Good?
Yeah.
That's good. How you doing, Pops? You good?
Good.
Ripped at 50. That's the old fella right there. You guys want the tour?
Yeah, I do. Why don't we drop this somewhere?
Drop it right there.
Okay, good. So
We can walk and talk. We can do whatever you need to do.
I got you. Here's your power shake.
Whoa, power shaker. Alrighty.
And then I got you, this is for the gut. It's like a super probiotic.
Oh, super probiotic.
It's to pull like the glyphosate out of the tissues.
We'll talk about that later.
The herbicides.
All right.
And then I got you some, we got the coronavirus going on. So
Yeah.
wanna
I
make
prefer
sure-
Heineken.
The whiskey works, doesn't
Well, I'm not much of a whiskey guy, but Heineken's my beer. But yeah, I guess whiskey works. Appleberry flavor. Which one's your favorite flavor?
Appleberry.
Appleberry. What do you mix it with?
Nothing.
Nothing.
And then you can read a little bit about my business partner. He's been
Alrighty.
the green foods dude
The
forever.
Green Foods dude.
And then this is another company I'm sponsored with. This
There's
is
a whole lot of stuff going on here.
this is the Rasa. God forbid you want to get off coffee.
Well, hey, here you go, right there. Yeah, God forbid that.
That's all herbs.
Yeah.
And then this has a little bit of coffee with the same herbs in
Okay.
it. But you could try it. You do
Got
a
it.
French press.
French press already.
And then have you gotten one of these?
No, but everyone needs one of those. The Troy Casey Rip Tip 50 right there.
That's how I'm going to save the world.
I got the man in the house, so your dad. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is your dad cool?
Yeah.
Did he tell you to say that? Did he tell you to say that, or he's just cool, right?
Well, I'm starting to fall into the uncool category.
Uh-oh, uncool dad. How's that possible?
We're going plastic free, so normally it comes with a scoop, but actually these things are going to disappear next year as well. My business partner invented the first food grade
Just biodegradable
bamboo, hemp, and
Okay.
tree resin. So there's no scoop in here, but about 5 tablespoons.
Yeah.
You know, eyeball it.
Yeah.
It tastes best with chilled water.
Okay.
You can have 1 or 2 a day.
Okay.
Sometimes I just fast on it.
Yeah.
We have amino acids that go with it as well
Okay.
that I didn't bring over, but that's a meal replacement if you do the amino
Okay.
acids. But just enjoy it like a fresh squeezed juice. Any time of day, empty stomach is probably best.
Okay.
The ViraSure is just excellent for any kind of viral
Okay.
or bacterial elements that
And
are
then
out there.
Which one's the gut one?
This one,
Okay.
the Biomedic.
Okay.
And the glyphosate they've been spraying since 1983. It's got 3 patents. It's a desiccant. It's a herbicide for genetically engineered crops, and it chelates minerals for farming irrigation equipment. So it has 3 patents. So it's ubiquitous.
Is this a
and
capsule?
pervasive. Yes.
Okay. How many of those you take?
You can take 3 a day
Okay.
until you finish it, and then yeah, it's just good for the gut. You had it race service, right?
Yeah. This is what I had at race service. I don't know what you know about what I do. The car thing's a hobby. I call myself builder, collector, driver. So I fell in love with Porsche when I was like 10 years old. I had a poster on the wall. How old are you?
12.
And you just fell in love with McLaren?
I don't know, like last year.
So pretty much like him, 40 years later, I'm now 52. Here I am downtown LA, kicking tires and giving you guys the tour.
Yeah, I saw your TED Talk originally. That's what turned me on to you.
Okay.
And then I saw.
Wasn't the beard?
Well, I'm into the gut, and I'm
Yeah,
into
all
I'm into
right.
instincts.
All
I'm into primal instincts.
Okay.
And I'm into healing the gut.
What about Primal Scream? Remember that band?
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that
that's
too.
pretty good.
Yeah, and Primal Scream, I like to do that in my men's groups. We get out there and
The
just
Primal Scream.
let it out. Baby.
You know, some may call me the certified Porsche nut. That's all I got to say. You're the health nut. Maybe I'm the Porsche nut. But anyway, gut feeling. Go with your gut.
Yeah, I love that video, and it really inspired me. And then I love cars. And
Well, I appreciate the support on that. Yeah, TED Talk I did in 2014. Essentially, it was just sharing my story, my journey. The weird thing about the TED Talk was probably 95% of the people that watched it had no idea who I was. We're not car guys, but I think the relatable element to the TED Talk essentially is just the fact that everyone has a dream, and I never ever gave up with my dream. And obviously being in LA, that's sort of the greatest place to have a dream, because dreams come true here. I think the common bond that we all have is we all grew up with a dream, but not everyone fulfills that dream. So the story of go with your gut feeling for me was, you know, if it feels right in the gut, I do it regardless of what other people say. I don't necessarily ask other people's opinions. So, you know, if it feels right to me, that's all I need to know. So hence go with your gut feeling. Obviously gut feeling is a lot of other things, but for me, that sort of defines if I have an idea and it feels good in the gut, I'm running with that idea. So that's sort of the story behind go with your gut feeling.
yeah, that's teaching me even right now. And I got tied up and getting married, and then trying to make decisions for my business, and then not listening to my gut.
Yeah.
And then I let it all hang out, and I got my beard on, and I'm just like, yeah.
Beardos and weirdos, that's all you got to say. Beardos and weirdos. Brother from another mother, right?
Yeah.
Should we continue with the tour?
Yeah.
So, I used to do a few things here. I lived upstairs, ran my wholesale clothing company out of downstairs, and just been in the building for 20 years. That's sort of the story. But for me, it's more than just bricks and mortar.
But you still in the clothing business?
No, I got out of it about probably 8-9 years ago now. Got to the point where I felt like I was no longer creative in that field. I'd done it for a long time. I always say for me, freedom's being able to do whatever you want to do when you want to do it. So why am I doing something that I no longer love? My journey, I've been in LA for 33 years. Came here when I was 19 in 1986. So my journey really involved three things that I had no education in. One was clothing, the second one was property development, and the third one was Porsches, building, driving, collecting. But all of those have a common thread that connects a story together, and that story essentially is stuff that I'm really passionate about and things that I'm into. So where there's a will, there's a way, and that's kind of like a typical LA story in that sense of, you know, just make stuff happen, don't wait for someone to come and knock on your door, and that's sort of my story. A lot of it's revolved around this building. When we bought this building, people thought we were crazy, but hey, it felt good in the gut. We took a leap of faith. My motto is always, how bad can it be? And we just made it happen. And then if it wasn't for the building, I'd have never got into the film location business. The film location business, I rent the building out for TV shows and music videos and commercials. That allowed me the opportunity to own more cars than I ever thought I would own. So there was no master plan. It wasn't, you know, I left school at 15 with barely any education. That story is pretty familiar, but it wasn't like
I love that.
it wasn't like I had a 5-year plan, 10-year plan. When people would say to me, you know, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't really know where I see myself next week, and I've been like that for the past 40 years. You know, people used to say to me, cut your hair and get a real job. Well, I've never cut my hair, and I've never had a real job. You know, the hair's thin and getting grayer, but you know, it's just kind of a motto to live by, I think. You know, for me it might be some Samson fear of losing my strength if I cut my hair, but you know, these all things, you just kind of come in what I call the blender. I throw them together and out comes the Magnus mix. So that's kind of my story. Long story short.
Oh my God.
So quite a lot of these are non-Porsches, as you see. No McLarens, I'm afraid. But there is a cool bus.
Oh wow, look at that.
And then there is a cool car which you can sit in, but wait, I got one more thing for you. This one's a pretty special one. These are not the ones you can go buy anywhere. These ones you have to belong to a special Hot Wheels club. And unfortunately, you can actually no longer get these. But you're going to get one right now.
Oh, really?
But there is something kind of cool about this guy. Let me just open him up. And the cool thing about this is the actual real life car is just on the other side of the room. Pops, you can hold that one. Baby Troy, that one's for you. Look what makes that one special right there.
Is that's the green one outside?
It's slate grey. It may look green in that light, but yeah, it's a car outside. We can go check it out. Let's continue with the tour.
Ready. There's more.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
So this is
Right.
Yeah, you know what a GT3 is? Alrighty.
I have a model of the new.
Oh, you do? The 991? This is a 996, so this is first gen. The first one. So you know what a GT3 is? Do you know what a GT2 is?
Sorry.
This is a GT2.
What year is this?
This is 02. So this is Porsche's first generation of water-cooled GT2. So that's a body style 996, the next one's 997, then 991, and then the current 992.
So where did you get something like this?
This I bought in Orange County a couple of weeks ago. Lifelong LA car, always been in LA, I'm the third owner. So LA delivered car.
And what, the price was right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I always sort of buy what I say is obtainable for me.
And in your crosshairs, you wanted that?
Yeah, you know, there was
That's me.
it's on the list, there's a target, yeah.
And this was your second one?
Second one I ever owned, so this is one that basically, you know, I do all the driving and the racing in. You want to sit in it, Taylor? Tyler, right?
Troy.
Troy, I'm sorry, why am I thinking Tyler? Troy. Like Papa, right? Troy Casey Jr.
Troy Casey Jr.
TCJ. Troy Casey, certified McLaren fan.
These are where the slicks come in.
Yeah.
For that. And then so you designed these rims.
Yeah, I got approached by 1552. That's the wheel company that did all the wheels for Ken Block.
Okay.
Very fast there. So essentially they said, hey, you know, let's collaborate on a wheel together. We reinterpreted the factory Fuchs wheel, but did it different by hollowing out the spokes. He looks at home though.
Yeah, I liked what you had to say about this thing.
That one came from Australia.
Yeah.
So every car has a story. Well, remember the first car I bought was a slant nose back in '92.
How did you like Rod's at race service that he did?
That's pretty cool too. I like that. Those guys are just down here.
What's that?
Those guys are just down here. So this is a cool story. You know, I was hunting all over the country for a slant nose, from factory to race ones, from low budget to big budget. And, you know, didn't find one that I liked or that I wanted to spend the money on. And then ironically, this car found me, and it was right here in LA in Pasadena.
And you haven't done much to it?
I haven't done anything to it. This is someone else's modified car in the 80s.
Is that, would you say that in general is, you don't do much to your cars?
No, I'm the opposite. I do quite a lot to them. Like, you look at this one, the one next to it, 277, the 964. Something like this, I have a plan for it. But it's all about timing, and the timing's not there. Like even these turbos, they're actually bone stock original numbers matching cars, but even they've been modified because you figure you put it on different wheels and tires and lower it, that's a modification. This car is bone stock, untouched. Regular.
I remember these growing. This is the hot Marin car for sure.
Yeah.
So they came out of the factory with that wide.
Yeah. So that's, we talk about wide body. That's wide
Right.
body circa 1977. Wide body today is a little bit different.
Yeah. And what's this? The oldest one or the?
No, that's not the oldest. One of my favorites, that's a 66 Irish Green. That's actually also bone stock unmodified. So, you know, this is like a Beetle.
Original paint?
Original color, repainted one. It's not original paint. But this car's 54 years old. So this is short wheelbase first generation. These two over here are examples of that car modified. So that's 66. This is 65, 1 year earlier, modified. This is 1967, my birth year, modified. Essentially the same car, but this one's more what I call this sport purpose streetable track car.
Did you put that gasoline tank there? Or?
That is where the gas tank is always there, but they don't have through the hood filler. So, you know, a stock gas tank. I'll show you that.
Right.
It's in the same position, we've just, you know, put the center hood filler in. Actually, that one, I can't get to the latch one. But same regular position, just wrong, not wrong, modified center hood filler.
And what's your daily driver?
Well, remember I said I walk to work, I'm the guy that doesn't commute, so. Last year I averaged almost 10,000 steps. Average.
Right.
Some days 20,000. So I'm all about variety. Like I said earlier on, I just went to the bank, took the 928. But I try to walk almost all the time. So it's also, like I said earlier, depending on where I'm going, let's say I want to drive, like for example, recently I drove to Arizona, to Phoenix. I took the red car. So it all depends where the journey is. Yesterday I'm ripping up Angeles Crest Highway, I took this car. Earlier in the week I was filming, I drove the blue car. So it's back to horses for courses and the experience, right? Just to go a mile to the bank, there's no point pulling one of these out. That car's parked outside, that's a grocery getter.
Right.
So, you know, sometimes, not sometimes, all the times it's just a matter of the experience or how far I'm going or what the journey is. If I want to step back in time, we can't go back in time, right? But if I want to go back 54 years, I'll probably get in the green car. Because that's as antiquated as I get. This takes me back to the 70s, right here, the center. Because nothing's really changed there. So it's all about the journey, the moment, really is the story.
What year is that car?
Which one?
The green one.
That's the 77. So these are all first generation 3-liter turbos. In 78, they got a 3.3-liter, slightly different tail. But this car's sort of look the same all the way from 75 through 89, that 14-year period.
Right.
You know, I always say when you think of Porsche, you think of turbo, right? These wide-bodied, low, chunky, racy, look fast standing still. That's the true definition for me of what Porsche is. Today it's a little bit different because when people think of Porsche, they might think of a Macan or a Cayenne or a Panamera, right? Or a Taycan, the new stuff. But for me, growing up for the past 40 years loving Porsche, this is what I think of Porsche.
The 911.
The 911. You know, I'm that guy that the Hot Wheels I gave you, that's my Hot Wheels. That one's gone around the world, that's my good luck charm. It's like my rabbit's foot. That drove across Australia with me. So to me, you know, a lot of memories are tied up in this room from his age to my age, right? Everyone has a story.
Where'd you give that TED Talk? UCLA?
UCLA says it right there.
They gave you that ball?
Yeah, they gave me that ball in 2014. Let's talk about the TED Talk.
Yeah.
So, pivotal part to my story in 2012, a crazy Canadian beardo brother called Tamir Moscovici did a short documentary film called Urban Outlaw. It took 32 minutes and changed our lives. I'm no different, but it changed our life in the way of opportunities came to us that weren't there before. Tamir went on to be a pretty successful commercial film director. My beard maybe got a little grayer and a little thinner, but the TED Talk really came about from the film. So the film Urban Outlaw led to the TED Talk. I got a phone call about 6 weeks before I did it from people that host it saying, hey, we think you'd be great. We've seen your film Urban Outlaw. A lot of people have seen the film. We're inspired by your passion for life, your story, your journey, never giving up on the dream, going with your gut feeling. Essentially, you know, they said, hey, we think you'd be great to do a TED Talk. And I said, I honestly didn't even know what a TED Talk was. You got to remember, I left school at 15, 2 O levels, came to America at 19. I always say there's book smart and street smart. I'm more of the street smart, figure it out as you go along. So the great thing about the TED Talk was I literally had no idea. They sent me a couple of links to a TED Talk, and I go, okay, how bad can this be? Yeah, I'll do it. I've told my story a lot of times, lots of interviews and magazine coverage. I could tell my story like the back of my hand because I've lived the story, right? They said, well, you should probably come down to UCLA because you only have 18 minutes to tell your story. So they go, okay, and the TED Talk's on a Saturday. I go down to UCLA on a Friday afternoon. And I get on stage and I ramble on for 45 minutes, I ramble on. And they said, hey, you need to edit this down to 18 minutes. There's 20 other people doing TED Talks. We need to do 3 an hour times however many hours. I guess it was 8 hours, there were 24 people doing it. So they said you should go home and sort of scale it back, self-edit. So I came back to the loft here and I started writing down my life. Born, Sheffield, 1967. Went to school, left school, 15, came to America, everything I've told you. And I'm walking around and I'm stumbling over my own story because I can't work off a script.
Right.
And so I tried it for about half an hour and then I started panicking, getting a little bit frustrated, thinking, hey, you know, this is going to be really uncomfortable because I'm good at talking in my own safety zone. UCLA on Royce stage in front of 500 people, that's not my safety zone. I'm not an intellectual. I wasn't used to talking in front of a public crowd. So anyway, after stammering around and tripping over my story and having no flow to my story, I finally said, fuck it, I'm just going to wing it. Yeah. I'll get up there, and I knew if I didn't get to a certain point in my story by the 10-minute mark, I was done. But ironically, I went 1 minute over, and the kind of scary thing about a TED Talk is there's a big video screen in front of you counting down backwards. And then you look up, and there's at least 500 people in front of you. So I walked out, I was a little apprehensive in that environment. I cracked a little joke, everyone laughed within 30 seconds. I relaxed, and 6 years later, it's gone on to be viewed over 7 million times and one of the most watched TED Talks, which they actually called me back in 2017 to induct and host the same TED Talk at UCLA by bringing people up on stage. So what I gained from the TED Talk was really self-edit. I gained confidence of talking in front of a big crowd, but what I really gained was the 95% of people that saw the TED Talk that never knew nothing about me, that were inspired by my story. That's the greatest thing that I got from the TED Talk. Those emails that you get that people say, hey, I saw your TED Talk, I just left university, I was going down this path to be a whatever, doctor, lawyer, whatever, corporate world, I really don't want to do it, or I just quit my job, now I'm brewing bourbon or distilling bourbon in my garden, or you know, whatever it is people are passionate about. My TED Talk, Go With Your Gut Feeling, is all about passion. You know, passion's always something I say, you can't manufacture and put it in a bottle and say, hey, here's some passion, right? You either kind of have that or you don't. It's internal, it's a gut feeling. What motivates you to get out of bed every day, right? So that was my story with the TED Talk. And then the TED Talk eventually led on to a book, which came out in 27, which became a best-selling book. But these are all sort of steps along the way of the journey. Not the TED Talk. I ended up getting a book deal. The book's called Do It, Don't Slow You Down. It's a combination of the Urban Outlaw film, the TED Talk, and then all the other stuff I haven't talked about. Growing up as a kid. And you got to remember, I'm growing up in Sheffield, England, northern industrial town. I'm called Magnus, right? So I'm the only Magnus in school, in a sea of David, John, Paul, Stevens, and Andrews, right? So when they call out the assembly in the morning, the roll call, I got picked on a lot because of my name, Magnus, right? Magpie, you start getting teased. It's a little bit like the Johnny Cash song, A Boy Named Sue. But what I didn't realize at the time, and it took me a long time to realize it, and it only happened when I came to America, was having that name built character because I got used to being picked on. So, you know, it's just one of those parts of the story. You don't necessarily, these pieces don't fit together at a certain time. Right. When they're meant to fit together, you know, that's when you finish the puzzle or start a new one. So remember I told you about the book. The book like went into 2 editions and sold out and is currently not even in print. So the one I had was wrote out to someone called Craig. You're not Craig. So what I have found is the very, very, very last copy of the first edition book, Do It, Don't Slow You Down. So that one's for you.
Thank you so much.
That's the story right there.
So it's out of print now?
That was first edition. This is second edition. It was published in Europe, then it got translated into German, published in German, now it's coming out in Japanese. So the second edition sold out. It's currently not in reprint at this moment for the third edition. And I don't have any copies of my own book in the warehouse other than those 2. It came out in 2017.
How did it do?
Well, let me show you. Let me see if we can pull this photo up. Oh. Troy Casey here, certified health nut, talking about books.
The Queen.
Yeah, but hold on, let me find the best part too. This is the long answer to your question. So, Amazon.com. What does that say? See that, Troy Casey?
#1 bestseller.
Boom!
Yeah.
Amazon.com. Boom! Sunday Times, right? You know the Times?
Yeah.
They have a book review. Top 10 bucks. What's number 10 there, Troy Casey?
Magnus Walker, Urban Outlaw. I love it.
Do It, Don't Slow You Down, homie.
Yeah.
So there's the moral of the story. Awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
Oh my God, that was so awesome. Magnus is such a cool guy. He's so down to earth. He was so gracious with his time, told so many stories, and plus his life story and just how he followed his philosophy. His life philosophy is very flowing, and I was just super impressed, and hopefully you guys were too. You know, I don't meet a lot of people that are that, you know, gregarious, open, tapped in, and so, you know, encouraging all you guys to go out there and just be yourself and be cool with being yourself. I love the story that he said, you know, he just followed his gut, he followed his intuition, and, you know, he wasn't educated, and he just kept moving, and if it felt right, he just did it. And he's had so much success in his life, and I think that's just a good metaphor for life in general. So just go out there and be awesome, guys. Just don't be afraid to be yourself. Look at the way he cuts his hair. It's like, that's what they said. You know, you should cut your hair and get a real job. And he never did that. He's completely just crushed it as far as an entrepreneur. So encouraging you guys to get out there and crush it. Just be yourself. Be awesome. You are awesome. You are a unique emanation of the Creator. And so express that. Don't express something you're not, if that makes sense. So God bless everyone out there in cyberspace. Have a great day.